everyone, and welcome back to a long overdue. I mean, it's been a couple of weeks since we've done one, but we're back with a movie review. Jeez, for the small absence from them. I know we said we were going to go to Prime, but here we are doing. Stop saying that. Stop telling me to not apologise. Okay. Anyway, now that she's ruined the mood. I'm your host as ever, Peppermint 8, joined once more by the autistic person playing a colouring game on her phone.
Okay, so we've just now got Disney pictures on Happy Colour, but I only do the pictures that are like the Mickey and Friends, and we've just got 4 new ones. We're really happy about that.
Wait. If you didn't guess, I am joined by my wife, the Obsidian Nook, Pale ASMR. No need for her to say hello, because she's already said her stupid little autism thing. Anyway, we are covering the zombie film parody, because it's a parody of several of The Walking Deceased. Several, yeah, there's a few that I will get to when I get through it. The Walking Deceased, the 2015 mixed reviews, feelings film, low budget as hell, but it's funny, it made us laugh. So this film is directed by Scott Dow and written by one of the film's stars, if you wish, Tim Ogletree, and this is available on Prime. We're going to be saying that a lot because we've got Prime for like 2 months, because we didn't realise that we had a free trial, so we still have the money for another month, so get used to it. So, we'll get right into it, unless you have anything else you want to say. Any extra thoughts? No? Okay. So, the news reports of a zombie outbreak caused by poor hygiene practices, during which many people are eaten and infected in the background. The reporter flees a building only to be easily tackled and swarmed. Romeo, played by Troy Ogletree, who has some sort of relationship to the film's writer, is a aware zombie that is a parody of R from Warm Bodies, played by Nicholas Hoult, who we've had on the channel. Well, we've not had him on the channel.
Have you seen it?
I have seen Warm Bodies, it is awful. Yeah, it is really ironically slow and dead. But, yeah. Nicholas Holt's been on the channel in a movie before, of course, playing the titular Renfield. He is an aware zombie who wanders the halls of an old hospital, passing some other zombies. Green Bay, who is played by Tim Ogletree, the film's writer, had to put himself in the main cast, who I will refer to throughout this as GB. Possibly, I said that about someone else in a Black Dynamite, and then I just ended up using his full name. So Green Bay, who is a parody of Columbus from Zombieland, and then Chicago, played by Joey Ogglesberry. There's a lot of Ogles, who is a parody of Tallahassee from Zombieland as well. Turn a corner and blow a zombie's head away, causing Romeo to, I want to call it flee, but he's a zombie that can only walk, as they looking for meds and porn. Specifically, 43 seconds earlier, Sheriff Lincoln, the parody of Rick Grimes.
If we didn't the makeup films, and I was like, oh, he's from Warm Bodies, isn't he? And then I was like, hang on a minute, isn't that in the background of Safe Haven from like in the Fear of the Walking Dead?
Was from Fear the Walking Dead. Yeah, it's basically a mishmash of parodies, but mainly it's mainly the first 2 seasons of The Walking Dead with the farm. Season 2 is the farm. So yeah, Sheriff Lincoln is played by Dave Sheridan, our only returning cast member, from casting your mind way back to Scary Movie 1 with Police Officer Doofy and his vacuum cleaner of destruction. This is also a film where his big fucking bulge is on screen. He wakes up from a head injury, confronting the two men with a finger gun. The two men struggle to talk to him as he's completely naked. Good God. Yeah, there's some man-ass. While telling them of his son Chris, played by Mason Dakota Gallion, parody of Carl from The Walking Dead, who he repeatedly refers to as Carl, putting him in a coma by hitting a baseball into his head. Sorry, Stasi. Romeo explains the time at the start of the outbreak where his stepmother bit him, of course turning him into a zombie, as Lincoln gets upset about social media not existing. I think everything but Pinterest, I think they said. Or LinkedIn, one of them. Before parting ways, Chicago passes him a little Derringer, a little self-defense pistol, if you're not familiar, before Lincoln mocks their names. Looking out a window, Romeo watches a woman travelling with the men kill a zombie and leave. Oh, and then there's this scene which I remember. Lincoln then leaves the hospital and finds a little girl who he mistakes for a zombie, despite talking and saying she's human. It's so dumb. She's like, I'm not a zombie, and he goes, that's exactly what a zombie would say, and just fucking shoots her in the head. Oh, it's good. Opening a car door, he then finds the little girl's father who was looking for her, and then proceeds to shoot him in the head as well. Despite also not being a zombie, before stealing his car and driving away. A man who I will refer to as the Wanderer, played by Trenton Rostedt. It's a difficult name, lots of D's and T's. Yeah, I think, according to Wikipedia, he's a parody of Jesus from The Walking Dead. That is a character that you are not familiar with, because we didn't get that far when we were doing a rewatch. But people will know. He wanders a road before slicing down some zombies who head his way. At a mall, Chicago, GB, and the woman whose name is Brooklyn, who is a parody of someone from Zombieland, played by Sophia Taylor-Ali, reunite with Darnell, a parody of Daryl, played by Andrew Poser. He doesn't use a proper crossbow. He has this tiny little fucking... It's like a crossbow pistol, but he just shoots darts and pencils at one point, and is completely ineffective with it. And Brooklyn's sister Harlem, played by Danielle Garcia, a mute sister that we will expand upon later on. The group discuss a possible safe haven located at a farm. Also, the mall, if you didn't realise, was of course a reference to most of the main setting of both Dawn of the Dead films, which we will get to. There you go. We'll get to them at some point, but for now we're covering this. Obviously. Lincoln returns home and calls out to his family, well, his wife and his son, Carl, and any possible zombies in his house, but gets no response. Finds a note from Chris telling him that he went to work with his mother before going for a very loud shit, which he then shoots several times when it didn't flush. Romeo wanders some streets and accidentally creates a small horde as Lincoln drives away in the other direction. Lincoln then arrives at a strip club filled with undead entertainers, but also a still alive Chris, who he repeatedly calls Carl. I think this is a Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, like reference with a strip club. That one's pretty good. I do enjoy that film, it's very weird. I think it is, because the whole thing of the bartender and so forth, and the zombie strippers. Lincoln is proud of his son for becoming a manager of a club, before he introduces Lincoln's still alive wife, Barbie, who is played by Natalie McKenna, to the stage to the joy of a parody of Shaun and Ed from Shaun of the Dead. Of course, which we have also covered. Mia Morgan, surprisingly, not you. Despite you being in so many of these, that is one of the very few you've not been in. Spotting Lincoln, the two of them make gross gestures of love before Ed accidentally frees a zombie stripper, who proceeds to both devour him and Shaun before biting Barbie. Barbie is quickly mercy killed by Chris, who shoots her in the head, blowing the top of her scalp off. Ugh, disgusting. He then turns his attention to the stripper and a zombified Ed and Shaun, putting them both down. They were doing some horrible English accents. Which, ugh, awful. So, pretty typical American film. Being like, oh, we're English, we are English people. As night falls, Romeo and his much larger horde arrive at the mall that the group are surviving inside. The noise alerts the group, who rush to the breach, with Brooklyn killing several, and Darnell's crossbow failing to do pretty much anything. The zombie almost gets Brooklyn, but Romeo saves her, and tells the other zombies that he's trying to bone her, and they do like a limp high five. Darnell comes over and is confused at Romeo's seemingly vegan lifestyle before Chicago arrives as well, insisting on wanting to put him down. GB tries to talk with the mute Harlem, but zombies surprise them, only to be put down by the arriving Lincolns. Sheriff Lincoln is never given a first name, so I'm just calling him Lincoln. The next morning, Lincoln and GB tell everyone that they are leaving in search of the farm. On their way out, they are met by zombie larpers, who then mistake for the dead before they leave, telling stories of the Wanderer from earlier on. They do knock one of them out. I don't know if they kill them, they just pistol whip them. The group eventually arrive at the farm, being met by Abraham, Richard Lukens. Abraham is a parody, of course, of Herschel from The Walking Dead as well, who offers quote-unquote special Kool-Aid, which, if you learn about certain cults and their history of Kool-Aid, you should be concerned. On the farm's porch, Abraham's wife, Sarah, played by Martha Prentice, I don't think is a direct reference to anyone, because Herschel's wife is dead in the TV series before the show. Dead in quotation marks, I'm not going to spoil that. Welcomes them and offers Kool-Aid to them once more. Brooklyn notices a stone on the ground belonging to their daughter, who is named Isaac, and they are invited in for dinner. They've never really explained why they called her Isaac. They're not even just like, oh, they think I'm a boy. Initially hesitant, the group dig into their dinner, with the farmers insisting on not speaking about Isaac or the secret ingredients in their food. Elsewhere, the Wanderer arrives at the mall, finding a note from GB before putting a zombie down with a dart. The group make theories on the farmers, which is the opposite about what they're saying about the group. The group think they're murderers, and the farmers are basically trying to say, like, I hope we've made a good first impression. These people seem really nice. GB, who accepted an invitation to stay in house as opposed to camping outside, takes a shower, off screen I should say, I didn't specify, and then comes out like he's got the towel wrapped around his head, he's got a dressing gown, he's like living a spa lifestyle, which Chicago and Harlem notice and make fun of him for. Hearing a noise, GB leaves his room, causing someone to scream, which sends the group in after him. GB was in fact attacked by Isaac, who's played by Jackie Holland, who was surprised to find him in there. As the group comes in, Isaac explains to them that due to their isolated nature, her parents are completely unaware of the apocalypse. Somehow. The next morning, Abraham speaks with the group and formally introduces Isaac to them. He asks the group to help around the farm in exchange for letting them stay. After working, Isaac takes some of the group to the barn, where they all pass a bong around with varying reactions, from relaxed to paranoid. As I said to you, despite being a, scene of them all getting high, the music's really, chill. As a joke I made to you, a Farm Together song, which we have also covered on the channel, wink wink nudge nudge. Yeah, there was some CGI, like smoke. Some of it was, but then some of it also wasn't. So it was like, what was the point? But anyway. I've lost where I was now because I was looking at you as I was talking. I completely forgot where I am. Yeah, so they all begin to enjoy different sounds, so GB has the amazing idea to launch fireworks, which of course alerts the dead as well as the Wanderer. The group reunites with one another as Abraham and Sarah arrived due to the ruckus and are deeply disappointed in Isaac. The zombie that the farmers recognise wanders over, only to be immediately put down by Chris, which understandably shocks the uninformed farmers. Despite being informed of the apocalypse and the murder, the farmers are only upset about the drugs. After being yelled at by GB, Harlem gets sick of them and responds, revealing that she is deaf, and not mute. Which is a random little thing. Speaking with the group, not before embarrassing himself, they decide to stay and Lincoln speaks with the group, but not before spinning his gun around and dropping it on the floor. They did like it had like floating text on it, which was like mobile speak. So it was like :/ for like concerned face. It was weird. I don't understand what that's a parody of. Surprisingly, my knowledge is quite limited when it comes to movies. Who would have thought, considering how much of a smart ass I am and some of the other ones. Anyway. Following after Isaac, Romeo and GB speak to her through her window, telling her of their plan, with GB planning on speaking to her parents. He then goes to talk to Abraham, who is insistent on not... Fucking hell, I'm having a day of it. He talks to Abraham, who is insistent on not letting him speak to her, but does allow him 10 minutes after saying the correct password. Which was some shitty little made-up song, apparently. The survivors prepare their defense as the dead begin to make their way over the fences. The group lure them over to them and mount their defense as the Wanderer enters the property. Leaving the house, Isaac and GB kill zombies easily due to their soft skulls, using both weapons, including a pillow, because it's that soft apparently, and mind-blowing sentences about Inception and even just saying the word Nickelback. Because to quote him, Nickelback makes me want to blow my own brains out as well, so fair enough. Indeed, he did not make it as a wise man. The farmers call them back into the house, revealing that the cure has been found and injected into the water supply. The group continues to fight the dead, with Darnell accidentally killing the Wanderer with a gun. The only kill he gets in the film is when he shoots the Wanderer to death. Which is so stupid, when he tries to help them. Which is so dumb, because he's in all these scenes, he's built up as this big, like, hero, and then he just gets shot once and killed. Retrieving a shitty little arrow, I think it's a pencil, Darnell is caught and bitten by a zombie, causing Harlem to go over and shoot him in the head due to his idiocy, which is fair. Brooklyn demands that Romeo turn her due to the inevitability of the situation, which she decides to do. GB and Isaac then reunite with the others and break the news to everyone of the cure, and they try and cure Romeo, who they are shocked to find out a zombie. So yeah, they reveal that Romeo's a zombie, which apparently they just didn't know, despite him saving her earlier. And then mistake Brooklyn for being a zombie as well. After spraying themselves with a hose, both Romeo and Brooklyn revert to human form. The group spray the other zombies with water as Lincoln continues to use his gun to fire at them, even shooting some of them after they've been cured on the ground. And later on, everyone celebrates and the couples finally get together, but unfortunately, the news reports a meteor is on the way. Good God, what a film. It wasn't as good as I remember it, because I remember watching this when I was younger. But obviously, as you get older, everything, like all your tastes change and whatever. But it still was a good laugh. There are so many jokes that still got me. There's lots of silly humour. But other than that, the quality is a bit crap. It's low budget, so you can't give it too much slack. And obviously, having Doofy back as a fucking character, you can't go wrong. Did you want to give any thoughts? Was that it? Did you enjoy it? Oh yeah, they put the cure in the water supply. So then they started spraying them with it to cure them. So it did make sense, it's just someone didn't actually think. Did they? It did make sense, anyway. So the best kill goes to Sean and Ed, mainly just because the worst kill I thought could go to the Wanderer, just because he's built up as this big killed. But yeah, that about sums it up. We are back. We'll cover some more Prime stuff soon while we still have it. Oh, excuse me, I'm so sick of hearing my own voice now. It's been so long since I've talked this much. It's not, it's been a few days. But anyway, I've been your host as ever, Peppermint, once again joined by my wife, the Obsidian Nook, Pale ASMR. You can find her links in the description alongside all of mine, Morgan's, but he's never here anyway. So, yeah, do with that information as you will. Again, thank you ever so much for listening, and we will see you next time. Let's say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.